Hello and welcome to a CEO Teacher, episodes about relationships, about life, about our goals and aspirations. Let me tell you a story. Did that excite you? Or you were almost glued? So many times you've heard stories are what makes people respond. Stories are engaging. Stories are inspirational. Stories are conversation. And that is what we need to do. Sometimes our lives are devoid of stories. We only tell facts to our children. We tell statistics. We tell about news, but we don't tell about stories. Hold on, let me give you an example. I'll tell you a story now. There was a king and a queen. And then the queen died and the king died later. Over. The story was so simple. Remember, we heard the story and we were laughing. It was like a way of teasing somebody, and the story ends. Raja tha, Rani mar gayi, Raja mar gaya, kahani khatam. End of the story. Now imagine if I tell you a little bit more about the story. Let me tell the same story, but let me rephrase it. So there was a king and there was a queen. The queen died and then the king died of grief. Strange. That one little word got the whole story. Oh, was the king Shahjahan the one who built the Taj Mahal for his wife? That's where the story changes perspective. The moment you add emotion to it, the stories become alive. Today, a lot of our conversations, our meeting, our PPTs, there is a lovely blog which says death by PowerPoint. And imagine if I have 20 slides and teach you by that. No, that's not the way we do. So many of our talks, our presentations, our classrooms are devoid of emotions. And stories are all about emotions. And that is why stories have an amazing effect on people, because stories convey. They make you cry, they make you smile, you jump up in joy, you are aesthetic, so you are scared. That's how the movie industry works. It's all about telling narratives, stories. So hold on, let me tell you something else about it. This is a real case study of what happened on the Indian highways. There was a big problem with trucks. The truck drivers would drink under influence of alcohol, under too much of sleep deprivation, being careless, reckless, overtaking each other, and it would result in lots of life losses, loss of good, more importantly, the danger of accidents on our national highways. So consultants were brought in and they did everything possible to convey the message that drive safely, drive slow, do not overspeed, take rest if you are tired, eat well before driving, have your headlights checked. Nothing worked. The road accidents only piled on and the accident rates were increasing alarmingly. Then one group of consultants did something amazing. They suggested that every truck driver should have the photograph of their family, especially the children, right in front of them as they are driving. And it changed the whole thing. The accident rates dropped. The overtaking was more, obviously it was more deliberately, it was more cautious. People were amazingly alert on the road. What happened? We just changed the narrative. We added a little dash of emotion into it. Now the truck drivers were told, you drive safely because somebody is waiting for you at home. And that somebody has a face, a name to it, your own children. And that changed their own paradigm, the shift in their entire thinking. This is what an emotion can do. When you teach a class, do you tell them facts? Imagine teaching them about earthquakes and you tell them about the fault line and the zone and what happens with the tectonic plates. I'm a geography teacher, I love doing that. But bring in a real story about the family that was displaced, about that earthquake that happened in Nepal and millions of people lost their houses. Imagine how do you feel when there is an earth-shattering noise and you're out on the road. Everything you see crumbles in front of you. Tell the story of the little boy and then what happens to his siblings. His brother cries for help, he can't help it. And then talk about the earthquake, the tectonic plate, the seismic wave, and everything makes sense to it. Emotions is what changes your narrative. What really drives us is one of the best stories I love telling. Is the story of Joseph in the Bible or Prophet Yusuf from the Quran. And this is one of the best stories ever told. You know why? Because it has all the emotion. It has a father and son relationship. It has sibling rivalry. The brothers throw Joseph in the well. It has all that greed, the lust for power. There is this woman seducing Yusuf. Joseph, he was very handsome. There is dream in the interpretation of the dream. In the dream you see cows, you see drought happening, the brothers' recollection, and then there is a reunion happening, and it's an amazing story. That are the emotions you need to bring in. So what are my 3 lessons that I have to teach you? That a CEO teacher does not state facts. He always adds emotion to whatever he or she conveys. So 3 things, 3 lessons as we always do. Number 1, stories have emotion. What is your story? Number 2, stories about real people. So when you have to convey a message like the earthquake we mentioned, talk about real people and then convey the story. And the easiest thing is stories are easy to remember and recollect. You will forget everything I said in this workshop, in this seminar, in this video blog, but you might remember that little story of the earthquake that happened in Nepal if you can relate to it. So there are a lot of books you can read about. One of my favorite book is Prakash Iyer's Small Inspirational Stories. You can Google them and you can find out. There is this book called Daniel Pink, right? To Sell is Human. He talks about some sticky factors what stories make. And then you can also listen to my stories I tell my daughters called Bedtime Stories with Jumpy Joaria. It's on Animal. You'll love to hear them or teach your children. Till then, let the stories continue. Tell me what's your story. I'll love to hear you. Email me, tweet or blog and comment on my blog. Thank you so much. Have a great storytelling day. Bye-bye.